Elizabeth.
And I'm Vivian.
And welcome to the Entry Level Adulting Podcast,
where we help you to navigate the confusing world of adulting,
one challenge at a time.
Welcome, friend. Hello, and welcome to the Entry Level Adulting Podcast. I am your host, Vivian, along with my co-host, Elizabeth.
Hello, and thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about fitness.
Yeah.
I prefer the term fitness over exercise, actually. I think fitness to me sounds less sucky, and it seems like it's more of a whole body thing, whereas exercise just is like just the physical. Whereas I feel like you can be mentally and physically and emotionally fit, you know?
That's
about
cute. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like fitness. Because, I don't know, it's less intimidating to me. Because if it's, I have to go exercise, well, that just sounds terrible.
Oh, yeah, maybe I should change. Let me go be fit. Because I say exercise, I'm like, ooh, exercise, extra fries, extra fries, extra fries. Let's go to McDonald's.
So, fitness, we've kind of touched on this. I don't know what the release schedule is going to be like. So, we have recorded some other episodes about like accountability and a couple of other things where fitness has kind of come up as examples. I think it's obviously one of those things that's very applicable and very universal to daily life. It's something we all need to do to keep our bodies healthy and take good care of them. But it's also one of the things that I personally least like to do.
No, that's fair. I feel like that's how most people are, right? There's not like a large population who's like, oh my God, I love going to the gym every day. I know some people like that. I have some friends like that. But for the majority of people, that's just like not their reality. Exercise becomes, or staying fit is this extra task that you have to do to like maintain your health. It's like a chore. It's like, oh, I have to go exercise. Instead of like, oh, I get to go exercise, you know?
Even though, without fail, I feel better afterwards.
1000%.
Because of the endorphins and stuff that are released. Like, I feel good about myself. So I don't know where, I just don't want to have to do the work to get there.
You know what it is?
Bottom line.
It's because you actually don't like stressing your body, right? Exercise, working out, being fit is a stressor on your body. While you're doing it, yes, you feel good because you're releasing all those endorphins and you're having adrenaline, right? Excuse me, rushing through you. But it's still like this expenditure of energy, which fundamentally your body does not really want to do.
I think personally for me as well, it's also very intimidating. It's like, where do I even begin? Yeah. And the gym itself can be very intimidating and anxiety inducing as well.
Yeah, because you have people that look like they've met whatever you decided their goal is. So that's one, right? If you're combating that like image. Two, right? You're gonna be hot and sweaty. No one likes to be hot and sweaty around strangers. That's like the epitome of when you're uncomfortable. You're hot and you're sweaty. So now you're hot and sweaty around other people. And then even if you're doing it at home, right, it becomes like this like a issue sometimes with accountability or the desire to do so or push past your own personal limits. So yeah, it is, I don't want to like downplay it for people who enjoy working out. Great. And don't have issues. Fantastic. Continue doing that. It's good for your overall health. But for people who are trying to figure out like, oh, exercising, where does this go into my schedule? You know, I'm so busy doing other things, right? I think kind of like what you're talking about beforehand, looking at it differently as not so much a task or a chore, but like this opportunity you have to better your health and relax, because there are lots of benefits to exercising. One of them is that you release endorphins, right? So stress level goes down. Two, the increase in stamina or muscle, depending on what you want to do with your body, can also go up, right? And then like the longevity and benefit of being able to do that kind of activity in terms of extending sometimes your life expectancy, but also, right, the health that you'll have during your life point, if not by the age, at least the quality of your life in terms of your physical health during that time.
Exactly. It means you get to be a more active adult. You know, I think we're starting to hit the age where, you know, our parents or our parents' friends or our grandparents they're kind of hitting the point where health is like the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Like when we're young, we get to enjoy a bunch of other things, but when you start to get older, it's like health becomes pretty much number one as far as, you know, what you're thinking about, what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to maintain is health. And so it's funny how when we're young, we don't think about it in the long-term sense of, you know, what we want to be like if we're blessed to get old, you know, because that's a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's exciting at the thought, for me at least, that I could actually improve life for my future self. Like that sounds cool. So for me, I've decided I started in 2021, but in 2022, as far as, you know, everyone gets like those New Year's resolutions and stuff. I think those can be kind of dangerous if you're really not going to stick to it, because it's very easy to fall off the wagon as far as, you know,
Yeah.
making a goal and then just being like, nah, and then you just leave, right? Like that's just so classic. And so I think for me, what I've decided to do ahead of time of like that New Year's, you know, kick or whatever, but still maximizing on some New Year's deals, because why not? But I've decided to kind of start small. Like if I can just do this one thing and keep it up consistently, then that's like one thing. And then I can build on that as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, you know, trying to do it all at once and then just getting burnt out and not actually sustaining any consistency. Because I think the thing with fitness is consistency. Like that's
Right.
number one. And so I've started going to the gym on Sunday evenings. And that's just really worked out for me. I basically sat down and I was like, okay, what days sound like the worst idea ever for working out? Like, what days am I just going to be like, no, I don't want to do that? And I was like, I don't want to work out Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, or Saturdays. I was like, that sounds terrible. No, genuinely. And then I went and thought about that. I was like, okay, so what does that leave? Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Those are the only days that I do not personally object to actually doing something for my body.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so I started with Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm hoping to expand in 2022 to actually being more consistent and finding activities that actually get me excited to work out and be fit in 2022 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's something that I've started to try and build up a consistent routine, because you have to start somewhere. So this is like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not even at square one, that's what I personally recommend. But you're a bit further on that journey. So if you want to talk about what you've done.
Yeah. So, I think I actually started like in 2019. Before the pandemic.
What a time to be
I
alive.
know. When I was getting ready to graduate from school, I wanted to like take my health more seriously. I felt like I had kind of let it get, especially my weight, out of control, because I was staying up late and eating late to try and help me stay up late so I could learn how to help other people take care of their bodies, all to the detriment of my own. Yay! So
Fabulous.
yeah, I was like, probably should not do that. No one wants to be a hypocrite out the gate. So I decided to start working towards that. And part of it was like setting great small goals and exercising consistently. And part of what I found was really helpful was when being nice to myself about that I was trying. Because it was really easy to be like, well, we messed up, da 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 da. You skipped a day, and harping on that and wanting to take that to like prevent me from doing any of it, because I felt like, well, now you can't because you already messed up. So pushing that aside, and then also like setting goals for myself, not like so much with like my weight, like that I did have a weight goal, but looking at what I wanted to be able to achieve. So part of what I did was I increased my amount of cardio and endurance, because I like to play tennis. So that's a lot of things is cardio and endurance, strength as well, but I wanted more endurance. So I started running. So I started setting goals for how fast I could run a mile, what the resistance I had while I was running, and those small goals and working towards that. I also told myself if I ran faster, I could end my workout faster. So your girl's down to a 7-mile run. because I don't like to run.
Do you run 7 miles?
The most I've ran is 4. It takes me about 7 minutes per mile.
That's amazing.
So
That's a
28
great
minutes.
pace.
I'm
That's
trying
amazing.
yeah, it's just because I want it to be over. So then I started with 2 miles, right? And then I went to 3.
That's a hard leap. 2 to 3 miles mentally is really hard.
You know what it was? Because I feel like after I got faster, I'm like, well, now you're just cheating because really 14 minutes, what kind of workout's 14 minutes? You have to add another mile. Oh my God.
You actually got to the point where it's like, I'm not working out hard enough. Like, I don't
Right.
feel as tired. Yeah.
Right. So
but that's good because that means it's working.
Yeah. Then after that first mile, I'm like, ooh, I got jello legs. But right, like small increments, setting goals just aside from weight, right? Things that you want to achieve in terms of your physical fitness. So what is it that you want to achieve? Like if there's a weight that you want to be able to lift, or if, right, like I would like to take up like boxing, right? So trying to do things like that, figuring out what goals you want to set for yourself that aren't just like, oh, this weight, this number, something that would bring you joy or would be cool or fun for you to do that you would enjoy. That way the likelihood of you being able to maintain it for a long period of time is significantly longer. Usually we recommend that people exercise for about 45 minutes to an hour at least 3 times a week. That's kind of the bare minimum, okay, of getting enough of an increased heart rate and raising up your blood pressure raises when you exercise. For anyone who doesn't know, that's a good thing. If it did not, you would pass out because you have had oxygen starvation to your vital organs. So you want your blood pressure to go up while you're exercising, right? But some of the benefits of that is that you're making sure that you're maintaining your heart health and the health of your vasculature, which just means the health of your blood vessels, right? That's supplying all these nutrients to the other parts of your body, clearing out some of the things that would be able to settle, right, without some of that increased blood flow in a healthy way, right? So that's typically what we recommend. So that would be a good starting point for some people. And if 45 minutes to an hour seems too long, try 20 minutes to half an hour and slowly start building that increment up as you feel better. I feel like consistency for sure, though, also is the biggest thing. So
Yeah, I think too what something is important to touch on is the bare minimum is not always everyone's bare minimum. And that's okay. You can work up towards that. I think what gets a lot of people off track is this sort of, and I've talked about this in therapy actually, it's a thinking trap that a lot of us get in, is this all or nothing mentality where like you think that if you don't do exactly what you're supposed to do or exactly what the fitness plan that you signed up for, or the calendar that you downloaded, or the personal trainer that you hired, if you don't do exactly everything to a T, then you've failed somehow and you should just stop altogether. And that's not true. Like the point that you brought up, Vivian, I thought was so actually poignant and something everyone needs to hear, is that you gave yourself credit and grace for trying. Like that counts. Like every little bit that you do counts. Like it all helps you take care of your body. And to act like, if you didn't hit this sort of arbitrary goal that you've decided, doesn't mean that your body still hasn't gotten some benefit, like
right.
you actually are building towards something here. You really are doing it. Like you showing up at the gym, you actually just like playing that fitness video, you showing up to that yoga class or whatever it is, you're doing it. Congrats. You're a fit person. You're an
Go
athlete
team.
now. Good job. Like that you did it. And you need to take that, So that's my hot take. You know your body best, And so, yes, you should absolutely listen to the medical guidance of people that know what your minimums are or your maximums or whatever. But you know your body best. And so you need to understand where you're at, where your fitness level starts, and listen to your body. Because the thing is, you can get injured with fitness stuff.
Right. And that's like
reality.
the other side of it.
You got to take care of it. Even as you're stressing your body, you have to pay attention to it. The whole point is to, I think, take care of your body and also listen to your body.
Right. Like if your starting point, like, because running's just one of those really easy places to like set markers for. If your starting point is not 2 miles, that's fine. If it's three, good for you. If it's one, if it's half a mile, whatever. The point is, right, that you are trying to work towards improving your health because ultimately the person that's going to benefit the most is you, right? Sure, it could like also benefit other people if you feel like you are happier with like your overall state of being because you're exercising and it's helping you clear your mental space. That's obviously going to have benefits in other facets of your life. But the ultimate person that is really benefiting is you, and that's great, right? That's what we want. We want the best you possible for the world to be able to see, right? And exercise is one of the ways that you can accomplish that.
No, it's a great point because the person you're benefiting is you, which means the only person you should be comparing to is you.
Mm-hmm.
Your past self. It's not fair of you to your body or to yourself to be comparing to these other people because frankly, they don't have your body and you have no idea what they're struggling with. A lot of times, even very fit appearing people are struggling with things like body dysmorphia or other self-image or insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got them. And so it's important for you to sort of focus on you. I think that's kind of the whole point of fitness is that self-care of focusing on you, your body, your journey, because it's nobody else's.
Look, I will throw my sister right under the whole bus. She is a skinny fat person. That girl, oh my God. I don't she don't eat that much for starters, right? And she said the most infuriating thing to me. She's like, I don't think I've gained any weight since high school. My whole soul wanted to reach out and choke her. I was like, must be nice. But, right, to Elizabeth's point, you can't just assume because of how somebody looks, right, that they're healthy and that they're not going through something else. I make my sister exercise, y'all, so she's doing better in life. But
some people are just built differently as well.
Right? Does not mean that because she doesn't exercise that there aren't going to be health ramifications for not being able to do that and not taking care of her health in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can still get diabetes. You can still develop high blood pressure. We are Black Hispanics. We are like the two biggest groups who are genetically predisposed to get these things because our food is delicious. So
can't argue with that.
Right? I don't know. Anyway, so I do kind of want to transition to the more like practical parts of exercise, right? So there's a lot of like terms that people use to like hit workouts, cardio, endurance, strength training, right? And what these kind of mean. So I want to first start with the big one that's going on right now is HIIT workouts, right? So high intensity intermittent interval working out. And part of the benefits of this type of working out, which is again not for everyone, is that you are causing your heart to kind of work harder. So you're dropping your heart rate to bring it back up. That's essentially all you're doing. And the reason why we found that this can help in terms of specifically that the American Association of Cardiology found helps is that it helps to lower blood pressure, right? And helps strengthen the heart is what the major benefits is why they've been talking about it. The reason why is because after working out, specifically more of this type of workout, we found that it can lower blood pressure anywhere between 4 to 7 points. I'll just use points because I don't want to go into all the language for blood pressure. Which can be beneficial for some people who are like borderline hypertensives, who have like family history of hypertension to help keep things lower, right? It also is good for like strength training and also building endurance, but that's the biggest reason why there's like all of a sudden this push for, HIIT workouts, right? Because of that benefit and blood pressure dropping. Versus
so
like,
what's hypertension, real quick?
hypertension is elevated blood pressure. Sorry, probably should have clarified that. And what that means is that you have elevated blood pressure. It changed again. It's like 140/90, right? Used to be it. Now they're looking more that it might be like 130/80 is like no longer like pre-hypertensive, more along the lines of you have hypertension. The point is, right, everyone wants you to be around like 120/70 of a blood pressure.
What's wrong with having high blood pressure? Like, why is that something that people even look for?
So high blood pressure, along with a couple other things like diabetes, they're called silent killers. And the reason why is the long-term effects of having elevated blood pressure or elevated blood sugar levels can cause detriments to your life, not in the next 2 to 3 years, depending on how far gone you are, but more so in the next 10 to 20. So hypertension specifically, increased likelihood of strokes, increased likelihood of heart attacks, increased likelihood of pulmonary embolisms also in some cases. So this is what we're trying to avoid, because these are things that kill people and cause them to have to be on medications for the rest of their life, essentially, if they want to be able to not have to keep going through this. So it can also lead to like vision changes. Blood pressure can also cause blindness. It's a lot of horrible things. So we don't want that to happen to people.
So basically, it's a preventative thing because that's the first step into a lot more serious things that people would probably definitely want to avoid.
Right. Because like an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
So for me, I know kind of getting into the more medical aspects of working out, so bit about me. I did gymnastics when I was very little, and my mom was seeing a chiropractor for herself, and the chiropractor actually informed us that you can get chiropractic done at pretty much any age as long as you have a trained person that actually knows what they're doing. Chiropractic isn't something that I need to get into right now because a lot of people feel different ways about it, and that's perfectly fine. All I can say is from my own experience, it did help as from an early preventative standpoint when I was doing all these sports. It helped me avoid building up scar tissue and a lot of other just like muscle tightness and things like that by consistently getting checked in. I specifically went to a chiropractor who specialized in ART, which is less of the bone cracking and more of the muscles and the nerves specifically. So I always thought of it as kind of like this deep massage in a way to help out all your muscles and make sure that they are moving around properly. And because of this, I went to shout out to Dr. Andy. I learned a lot about anatomy from a young age and how my body was working. And I'm not saying go to a chiropractor, but what I am saying is there's a lot of benefit to be found of learning about your body and your anatomy, and also considering like physical therapy and occupational therapy. Because a lot of times people will work out, get injured, stop working out, and not address the issue, or will continue working out in pain and then cause further damage by ignoring it. And what you should be doing, I think everyone can benefit from, is going to a physical therapist, understanding what your like sensitive problem areas are in your body and what stretches and exercises you can do to strengthen those areas so that when you are working out, you will do less damage to your body. Like for me, I learned that I get really tight in my hips and I need to do certain wrist and neck exercises because I work on the computer a lot, and those are occupational hazards for me personally. And so I also learned I have loose ligaments, which means that I need to be careful with how much weight I'm using because I need to strengthen the smaller muscles in order to support, because I get less support from my ligaments. You know, it's these things that make you more empowered and knowledgeable about your own body.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you can like seeing a healthcare professional is always like beneficial, right, in terms of getting more information. But right, you do have access to a lot of the stuff, especially now. It's super hard to get in to see anybody, to have them look at you and talk to you. So right, there are things that you can look up on the internet, right? Stretching before a workout is automatically a given. A good, please do that. Please stretch. I don't know what y'all people are doing after the gym, not stretching, and you're not even able to bend your arm, right? No, stretching is good. So taking those preventative steps ahead of time. So stretching your ligaments before and after you work out, making sure that you're staying hydrated that way and that you're replenishing the nutrients that you're losing while you're working out is also really important. And then I think the other thing is, like Elizabeth was saying, considering what you do for a job and how that affects your body. That is important. If you're on your feet all day, right? I do not expect you to go out and like run a 5K or anything every day after work, because you already kind of are on your feet. So it'd be changing how you work out, maybe to help work out other parts of your body that aren't able to get that same type of exercise throughout the day for yourself, right? That way you feel better, right? And making sure that you're not overdoing it. The biggest complaint in healthcare in terms of missed days of work pre-pandemic was lower back pain, actually, and it was the cause of most missed days of work. And part of it was occupational, but also like what people were doing at home, because they'd have more of a sedentary lifestyle for the most part, and then they'd get up to do an activity and their body wasn't really conditioned at that point anymore to just be able to bounce back. And I'm not just saying older young people. I mean, if you've been sitting down on the computer for the last 5 years in college or something, your body is not the most conditioned if that's not what if you haven't been stretching or working out. You're that person. Okay. But they'd end up injuring themselves, right? And part of it was because they didn't have like a plan in place to be able to maintain their physical health.
Do you notice, Vivian, that like doctors and nurses are notoriously the worst patients? Like, is that something that is very true, where they need to take care of themselves, ma'am?
Yes. Look, I try really hard not to be a hypocrite. I try really hard to try and maintain my health, both mentally and physically, because I am aware that it sounds a lot better coming from somebody who's at least doing those things themselves. Yeah, it is hard for healthcare workers, especially in the context of a pandemic. It's very tiring, emotionally and physically sometimes. So shout out to all my fellow healthcare workers. I know y'all trying out there.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for everything that they've been doing these past 2 years. Take care of yourselves. So I kind of want to take this moment and transition. As I sort of mentioned in the beginning, I want to kind of touch on, and I think we'll expand on this in future podcasts, but the mental part of fitness, like the mental fitness it takes. I think specifically in the context of a lot of working out is mental, I think. And a lot of it is your mindset going into the workout, your mindset about the workout, your mindset about yourself. I think a lot of your mental health can affect your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge link there. So if you're not also taking care of yourself mentally and physically, I think you're not going to see as good of a result or feel as good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like if you are in a depressive state, the likelihood of you wanting to get up and go work out consistently is pretty low. Now, working out can also help address some of your like mental issues in terms of being able to clear your mind and remove some of the stress like from your day. But there is something to be said that you still have to address those things outside of just that context. And if you're struggling with your mental health, this is a part of you maintaining a long-term fitness also. Addressing it's important, right? You wouldn't tell the person who like cut their arm off and was bleeding out and like, hey, just get over it, right? That would be a horrible response to that person. But, right, mental health, right, can be that same kind of way. You know, if you're really going through something, I don't want you to just take it and brush it off and be like, oh, well, it'll just be fine. And then just kind of put it in the back corner and never address it and let it just kind of fester. And addressing it can look different ways. It can be talking to somebody about it, a healthcare professional or otherwise, right? Taking the time to mentally look at why you're feeling this way and what are the causes of you feeling this way, and being able to do deep dives into it and figuring out what's the root cause. That way you can address it and feel better and hopefully move past it and above it.
Yes. Well, on that, I think, positive note, I think we can wrap this one up. Do you have anything else you want to add as far as fitness goes?
It's hard for just about everybody. So at least take solace in that you are not the only person struggling with it.
Honestly, yeah, I think that's actually a big thing, because it's good to know that you're not alone.
Okay, so when you're working out, you can think of us also working out and me trying to work out as fast as I can so I can leave.
And you can think of me reluctantly showing up at the gym.
There we are.
And there we are.
Okay.
All right. Take care of yourself, friends. Bye.
Bye. And that's our show for today.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on our next podcast.
We hope you continue to face adulthood head on. We've got this.
Follow us at Entry Level Adulting on Instagram, intro and outro music by @DQ_on Twitch.
Bye, friend.